Hello, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to be your general reading for April 2023. Because it is a general reading, that means that the messages will not resonate with everyone who views it. So please check back to your moon or rising sign. In order to gain any insight into your own personal situation requires a personal reading. You can go to the About Box section of my channel. There I have listed the reading packages, which is the number of minutes, number of questions, and the price. Pick your package, and then you can email me at hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com. Hey Tara, I'm interested in the 45-minute reading, and I will contact you back. Usually my response time back to the initial inquiry is about 24 to 48 hours. So if you haven't heard back from me at that point in time, please check your spam folder, because that's where all of my emails go. Don't know why. They just do. So I have with me today the Radiant White deck. I have with me the Levita Sibila, and this month we'll be wrapping the reading up with the Psychic Oracle Tarot. Okay, I purchased some new cards that are really lovely, several new decks. So I'll probably be trying to spend some time getting to know this new deck, imprinting with the new decks, and we'll just see what happens. But I think a couple of them are extremely beautiful, and I'm hoping that they will agree to work with me. So maybe after I take my little break here, I can come back and have a new deck for you. Okay, now let's turn the camera around here. Oh, whoa, my chair just moved. And I've already done some meditation and shuffling on the Aquarian sign and glyph over here, Aquarius. And I'm going to put one more rifle and one more shuffle on these, and then we'll get started with the reading, okay? Alrighty then. Okay, 9 cards down. Here we go. The Queen of Wands. The 6 of Swords. The World card. Now, this is, I feel, someone leaving, and they may even be traveling overseas, okay? Let's put the rest of the cards down and see what the complete story is. The Empress. For some of you, this may be your mom or a mother-like figure. The 3 of Cups. The 10 of Wands. The 9 of Swords. Oh. The Knight of Pentacles. Wow. And the 8 of Cups. There is that eclipse moon that I was talking about the other day when I posted up the Pisces new moon hybrid solar eclipse reading. Okay. This is an odd energy, and for those of you who are new to my channel, my style of reading, welcome. For those of you who've been with me since the beginning, thank you so much for sticking around. And so I don't read cards, I read energies. There's a difference in the technique. So what is the energy over the entire reading? Well, look, it is the 10 of Cups. This is an odd kind of an energy here. Now, what do I have? Let's first look at what I have. I have 2 court cards. I have 2 swords. I have 2 cups. I have a wand, 2 wands, and a pentacle. And then I have these 2 major arcana cards. Okay? But additionally, I have 2 threes. And so it's always notable when numbers repeat themselves, okay? So right in the center, I have this 3 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups is typically a card of celebration. And it speaks to the idea of a kind of universal celebration. So this would be birthdays, uh, baby showers, bridal showers, graduations, those particular kind of universal milestones that everybody experiences in their life. Seated here next to the Empress. Now, there is an indication, perhaps, that there might be the announcement of a birth on the way. For those of you who are past childbearing age or you're not interested in having kids, then this is about the announcement of a gestational period, right? There's a gestational, there's something that is waiting to come into being, okay? I used to have somebody say, you always talk about pregnancy and I'm not in a pregnancy. Well, you know, pregnancy is not just in the literal sense in the tarot. So we're looking at a gestational period, okay? Past, present, future, interplay of the cards. Now, yes, I'm reading for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this could be your Moon and Rising sign if you're an Aquarian Sun, okay? This could be the idea of maybe what you do for a living. She is the entrepreneurial queen. In other words, she's got a lot of irons in the fire. She's sexy. She's feisty. She's a leader. She's got a lot happening. She does a lot of delegation. Typically, this queen will show up when it's talking about somebody who runs their own business, okay? And not necessarily from a self-employment kind of standpoint. She would be the boss, okay, of the business. She's the owner of it, and she delegates out her work to other people. For some of you, this could also be another female, okay? And what we see is this queen here in the past moving from troubled waters to more calmer waters. So the Six of Swords is about, it's a mental energy. And before it was a 6, we had the 5 of Swords. So that is a card maybe of arguments, of fights, of having to defend yourself. The 6 says you were able to not only physically get yourself away, but now your thoughts are moving away from the previous conflict. This card can sometimes show up when it speaks about a sudden separation, leaving something or someone behind suddenly. It also has an indication of movement and travel. So over water, by water, around water, near water. All right. Into the World card. So this has a double meaning. The World card too is about a graduation, but it is about the graduation of a spiritual lesson. You're now about to end a particular cycle of spiritual lessons and go on to a new. And so things will be changing and things will become new. Perhaps things will become more positive after this. But this card also has an indication of world travel. It says the world. So this could be somebody who travels overseas or will be taking a trip overseas. I explained these two cards to you, but what I find here is this Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is considered to be a card of a burden. Now, for me, wands simply represent your focus, your passion, and your determination. But passion can be anger, it could be fear, it could be revenge. So there's a lot of things that can motivate our passions, right? But in this case, this card always is an indication to me that someone is taking on more than they can handle, okay? In other words, they may be instead of delegating responsibilities due to some perhaps maybe power and control issue, that they would rather do all of the work themselves and not let anybody else do it. But then they become resentful of the people for not doing it. So the card says, if that happens, you're going to have to delegate it out fairly so that you can gain the cooperation of everybody and you won't be so resentful. It also says that when you try to take people's responsibilities away from them, you take away their opportunity to learn about the lessons of cause and effect, karma. Okay? Having a lot of irons in the fire. And we see that this is causing this particular queen some mental issues. Now, first we see that maybe she's moving away from it, but maybe this is something keeping her up at night. Perhaps it is a guilty conscience. Maybe she said something to somebody, or she talked bad about somebody behind their back, and now she feels sorry for it. It is about worries, fears, anxieties. It is a focus on a painful issue, but it is one in which you cannot seem to mentally climb your way out of. Okay? Now I have these lovely two cards here. The World card, the Empress, is always more than a queen, but the Empress talks about abundance, growth, fertility. It speaks about loving what you do, doing what you love, and loving what you do. It also says that there's a time perhaps that may be coming in which projects, ideas, perhaps even finance, contracts, and negotiation will become more fruitful. Okay, typically, if that is the case, it is the time of summer. Okay, but she's also the goddess. She represents Ceres, the goddess of agriculture. Okay, and this is about dividing up things. How do you divide up whatever it is you need to divide up? Spring, summer, winter, fall. Maybe sharing something with other people. And we see this idea that perhaps someone is not sharing. And then we come to the Knight of Pentacles, the slowest knight in the deck. This particular knight, usually all knights for me, simply represent the idea of an event, but that event is presaged by some news or messages. Okay, in other words, the role of all knights is to move a situation along. However, this particular message has been a long time in coming. See how large the horse is. He's slow, he's lumbering, and he's standing stock still. That's not a fast horse. So traditionally, the card says that when the Knight of Pentacles shows up, he comes with good news. So this could be news related to finances. It could be news related to new projects, new skills being learned. He is as well a messenger of not just finances, but of the doing of something. And that you're supposed to offer him a cool drink and sustenance once he arrives. But he arrives at the time of the eclipse, which was, today's the 23rd. On the 21st, this is the eclipsed moon. Now, this card is about, sometimes it is about sadness. It is about regret. It is about the idea that emotionally you are either not content or you are not being fulfilled emotionally. And so you have to head off in another direction so that you can find whatever it is you feel is missing. Okay? The card also says that sometimes if you put a lot of energy into something, or a relationship or a project, what have you, and it still isn't what you want it to be, you're not seeing any progress, you're still not getting that fulfillment, then the only thing that you can do is put it down and walk away. Don't waste any more time or energy. Okay? So as I said, it's kind of this, there's movement here, but there's also some kind of, I feel, conflict between how you, the passion that you feel about it, what you're, or how much effort you're putting into it, the emotions, the thoughts, so there's a kind of a conflict here. Now, 2 3s can be an indication that there are at least 3 people, and we have 3 people here, right? There's 3 people here. We do have the 2 court cards plus the archetypal mother image here, right? But 2 3s can also be an indication that there will be some kind of delays before future successes are realized. And even though this card going out of the spread indicates that there may be some sorrow and guilt and perhaps even regret, or just the whole idea, I'm going to have to give up because the plans of the past are no longer relevant for me today, and I'm going to have to start anew and fresh. Walk away and leave everything, okay? Does not necessarily mean that something positive can't come out of it, okay? So don't allow that to kind of throw you. I have this indication of 2 10s somewhat, even though this is not in the spread. 2 10s can be an indication of the ending of a relationship or phase in a relationship. So if this is a romantic relationship, it doesn't kind of feel like that, but there is the possibility. So same sex or heterosexual, it's going to apply no matter what. It says it's the ending of a relationship or a phase in a relationship. But again, that relationship can be a friendship. It could be a career relationship, a work relationship. Okay, the 2 3s says one of you is craving more excitement. Well, I don't know if necessarily it's more excitement or not, but here going from the 3 to the 8 of cups is 5 cups. So this is the idea of crying over something in the past, or a focus on losing something that was, or someone who's very, very important to you. Okay, it could even be an indication of somebody having what do you call it, substance abuse issues, drinking. But this whole idea of having to stand stock still and looking over what you think you've lost. And as you guys know, that for me, the 2 of cups, the 5 of cups is, I call it the 2 of cups in disguise. It says that there's still something there, that all is not lost, but you'll have to change your focus. Okay, that gives me my 8. The 3, the 5 gives me the 8. So again, to me, there's an indication of some underlying conflict here. It's not jumping out at me in the spread. Now here we have the 10 of cups. And the 10 of cups can be the idea of going on vacations with friends, with families, meeting up in lovely places. It is the idea that everything is just as it should be. You know, relationships are going well. All areas of your life are going well. But I always caution sometimes that this card can be the idea of taking a look at what true happiness really means, because the cups are in a rainbow, and the rainbow is an illusion. So sometimes this card will show up when it is asking you to question what is true happiness for you. What is real happiness for you? You know, because we see that there's an indication that something is no longer fulfilling for you. Okay, so I gave you the first meaning of the 2 10s and the 2 3s. Let me grab my book. We're going to turn these 2 cards over because traditionally they represent people. And so that leaves me 6 of Swords, 3 of Cups, 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords, 8 of Cups as they relate to these 2 cards. Now, what is interesting is there's this indication that all areas of your life are being touched, because I have all 3 suits represented. Swords, Cups, Wands, and Pentacles. Okay? Mostly it's been thoughts and emotions. So let me get to the 6 of Swords to see if there's any indication with any 10 before or after. It is an indication of travel, journey, a vacation or holiday, or even a change of residence. It may involve a major decision which will ultimately lead to movement of some kind. However, it is also a message for you to look carefully at all aspects of a situation, as there may be some hidden traps or pitfalls. So it tells you to look out for unnecessary expenditures. Okay? The 3 of Cups. Implies that there may be news of a pregnancy or the birth of a child. And maybe that's what this is saying. You know? And this was unexpected. It's going to be more work for you. It doesn't necessarily feel like that, but there you have it. Okay? 10 of Wands. Where are the 10 of Wands? Nothing about the 10 of Wands with these 2 cards. 9 of Swords. Nothing about the 9 of Swords either. It tells of an unfortunate set of circumstances and or inconsolable unhappiness and deep personal loss. It asks that you look at what you have in your life and stop feeling negative for yourself. 8 of Cups. Nothing about the 8 of Cups. This card implies that long laid plans have come to a halt and you may feel stuck. It may be indicating the decline of a matter, slight consequences, withdrawal, and or abandonment. But this may prompt you to try something new. Think carefully before going back to established plans, as you may wish to abandon them entirely or amend and adapt your goals to suit the situation better. It suggests that it is time to accept and move on in your life. There is a need to venture into unexplored territories to find deeper fulfillment. Well, I guess it would be this row, this idea of, you know, going out there, doing everything. Maybe you've been successful here, but there's something bothering you. It's a real burden. And this is the idea that, you know, whatever this thing is, you may have to let it go. Okay? So I want to see what this 9 of Swords is trying to indicate. What is the fear? What is the inconsolable happiness? The unfortunate set of events that may be keeping you up at night, causing you anguish and pain, maybe guilt. The Alegria. Again, this identification of 3 people, okay? The Dispiacere. There it is. Some kind of disappointment or bad news from a group of people, it would imply. And the Dottore, which is quite interesting. What I'm kind of picking up, and you guys know I don't necessarily do health readings, it could be the possibility of a miscarriage, or this idea of wanting to have this happy family here, or the idea of what the happy family means. But here with the Alegria, again, it's this kind of the same energy as the 3 of Cups. You know, we're celebrating this event, but this card implies the idea of, it's not personal happiness. The regular, what's it called? My mind just slipped. Hold on, because the Sibila is very specific about the different types of happiness. This is the happiness of the heart, which indicates the idea of personal happiness, right? This one talks about networks, groups, and friends, places where you go, to bars, to barbecues, to parties, and the kind of people that you hang around with at those groups, or you visit with those groups. So this is a social, your social network, your social contacts. But the card also says that if you meet someone in this particular context and you don't know them well or at all, you might want to be careful if they try to become a new lover or a new business partner, or they try to get a little bit closer to you, because they could end up being a fair weather friend. And what we see here is the Dispiacere. Now, the representation is the open letter on the table and then the woman's reaction to it. And so this is an indication of some kind of news coming, all right? It doesn't tell me what kind of news, what the news is about. Invariably, if there is a significator card, the Dottore, the message or the news or the information will have to do with this individual. And this card says that whatever the news is, it's going to hurt to the quick. It's going to cut to the quick, okay? And here we have the Dottore. Now, the Dottore is a degreed individual, mostly a male. And when I say degreed individual, that means he can have a degree in economics, he can have a degree in the law, He would be a medical doctor, never a specialist, more like a GP. And his role is to come in to help. This is somebody who can give advice, can there's this indication of caring here. Okay? And so I don't know if what the cards are saying to me necessarily is maybe there were hopes to have some kind of relationship or to meet someone who would be able to help perhaps and or assist in some way, shape, or form. Incidentally, he would represent the King of Clubs or the King of Wands. Okay? And that something doesn't go right. As if the cards with the King of Pentacles is saying, well, you know, really, it may take you a long time to get to wherever you're going or whatever this change is, but ultimately, you're going to have to walk away from it. Okay? Now, I don't know what this means. As I said, when I first put the cards down, it's a very strange story. I think there's a lot of things happening underneath the surface that the cards are just not pulling out. Okay? Some of you may recognize some of this. I may have touched on some of the parts of the story, but the cards are not necessarily telling the full story. And so this is why I say if you're seeing this, you know, it's always best to get a personal reading. You know, so you can really look in depth at what's happening. Formulate your question for the Psychic Tarot Oracle. Here we go. The Ace of Swords, a triumphant success. Wow. Which incidentally, the Ace of Spades, which is the Ace of Swords, but as we know, swords cut both ways. So, here we are. Physical border. Let me find the swords, and I can never remember where they have this. I think the border, the red border, comes first. Yes. Here we go. Here we are. The first of the mental card. It signifies that new beginnings and exciting challenges may be before you. By utilizing your strength, willpower, determination, focus, there's a potential for you to reign triumphant in many areas of your life. In the traditional tarot, this card represents the Ace of Swords. But since a sword is double-edged, it can cut through all of the barriers that hold you back if it is done constructively and with precision. But remember that there's another side to the blade. If you are rash or use it in a destructive way, it could be harmful to yourself or others. Always pause and think before you act. This card is a reminder to vanquish negative thoughts from your mind, strengthen and tap into your mental powers, and use clarity with control in order to initiate new ways of thinking. Banish the negative thoughts. Climb out of whatever that is. And by doing that, whatever plans you had laid in the past, okay, will no longer be relevant. So this card is not necessarily a card of sorrow. It's not. This frees you up to move on. I think as I was talking to you, when, you know, things happen under an eclipse, people and situations are supposed to be eclipsed out of your life. That's it. And so that is what I have for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I don't know where my light is. There it is. I do hope this message helped. Till next time, be well.